But you're probably asking, what is a credit union? Does anybody know what a credit union is without cheating on screen? Okay. Do you guys have any bank accounts?
Yes.
Credit union is similar to a bank in the sense that you can open a savings account, a checking account, have a debit card, use online bill pay. There's all kinds of different accounts, money market accounts, which is pretty cool, so you're not just an account number, you're a member. When you come in, we're pretty small, so we try to remember everybody's names when you come in. And in a bank, a lot of times there's a board and they make all the decisions really to benefit them. And they get a whole bunch of money. Where our board is volunteers. So they don't wear suits, they wear what they were wearing to work that day. And they come in and they take an hour of their day to try to benefit all the members of the credit union because they're not paid to do that. It's strictly volunteer. And credit unions are also pretty cool because they really invest in the community where we are. Like doing these different outreach so that we can just explain what we can do for people in the community. And we love to do that into the community. And so anyone in here would qualify to be a member of our credit union because all you have to do to be a member is you have to live, work, go to school, worship in Davidson County. So before we get into talking about credit scores, because that was really what I wanted to explain to you guys today, like credit scores and what that means. Before we get into that, let's talk about like what kinds of things do you dream about?
I guess a nice house.
A nice house, yeah. Okay.
Car.
Yes, a car.
Figure out what I want to work as
Yeah.
soon, because I'm still not entirely sure, and just make sure I can make a comfortable living,
Yeah.
especially with all the prices of everything going up.
Inflation is a real thing. What about you? What do you dream about?
I got my life planned out, kinda.
That's
I think
awesome.
after high school, we go right to college for a year. I don't really like college though, but I'm gonna go just so I can get my business. Then I'm gonna go to trade school. That's the only really way to go now. Trade school.
Yeah.
I want to become a plumber. Then I want to over time build my company with the business degree and own.
That's awesome.
Different. Yeah. That's what I want to do.
Awesome. Yeah.
You know what you want to do, Blake.
Mm-hmm. We know what you want to do.
He wants to become a pastor.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. For his future, most likely. And life is a journey, and there's lots of twists and turns that happen in life. You guys mentioned some of these: going to college or trade school, or going directly to work from high school. That's also an option. Some of you dreamed about purchasing a home, purchasing a car, building a family, all while keeping your faith at the center of all of that. And understanding how to manage and protect your credit score is just a great way to be able to hit those goals that you want. And credit score makes sense. Okay. 3 things to know about your credit score. It's when you get your credit score, it's just a snapshot of your credit risk at a particular point in time. So if somebody was to pull your credit and get your credit score, it is what your credit looks like right now. Now, the middle part is your credit score can change whenever different things report to the credit bureaus. So 6 months from now, your picture, just like if I were taking a picture of you now, you could look different in 6 months. You could have a different haircut. You could start wearing glasses or switch to contacts. You could have braces. Just like physical things on you can change, your credit score can also change in 6 months depending on what you do. And it can change in a positive way and it can change in a negative way. But it's a 3-digit score. And it's made up of several different things. Like the biggest chunk of what your credit score is made of is your payment history. So if you take out a loan and you pay it on time, That's gonna give you lots of good credit points. If you're late on your loans, that's gonna take away points, and that's the delinquencies. So that's a big part of your credit score. The next section, the yellow section on your handout, that is how much you owe on different loans based on how much credit you're actually using. For example, I have a couple of credit cards, and I don't use them to their capacity. You know, I do use my credit cards because using your credit cards and having that report to the credit bureau and making sure I pay my bill on time, that reflects positively for my credit score. Okay. Some people kind of think that you shouldn't have any credit cards at all, but actually having a credit card and being really responsible with it can help build your credit. The next section is how long you've had your credit history, and this is why it's important for you guys, because you're wanting like the car loan. I would think that the first thing that you guys are probably going to get a loan for would be a car, and if not a car, then a house for sure. And I also pulled on Zillow that the average house in Nashville is $420,000. So the chances that you're going to have that in straight cash, not very likely. Couple of other things like the mix of credit, like revolving installment and mortgage. Revolving is like credit cards. Installment loans are like car payments. They're the same thing every month. Whereas a credit card, you might spend $20 this month on gas, and next month you'll spend $40. So it's revolving. It can change. And then a mortgage loan is your house. Okay? Highest credit score possible is an 850, and that is fantastic if you're able to have an 850 credit score. And then it goes down to 300 or just no credit at all. Like if you don't have any history of reporting anything to the credit bureaus, you won't have a score at all, which would mean that you're a higher risk for getting a loan. And the purpose of a credit score is to help financial institutions determine what your risk is for getting a loan. So the higher your score, the better. You're at a lower risk. So your interest rate on loans is going to be a lot lower, okay? Going all the way down to the 620 to 300, that's a pretty low credit score. And that means you're at a higher risk of not paying your loan payments on time. And so you kind of have, because you're a higher risk, you kind of get punished with that higher interest rate, okay? You know the responsible things to do. So why is this important? So we're going to tell a story. We have two of our greatest members. One is SpongeBob. And SpongeBob has just received his boating license after he went through that course with, what's her name?
Miss Puff.
Thank you. Yes, he finally got it, right? And he wants to invest in a new boat. And after paying taxes and fees and everything, he needs a loan for $25,000. And he wants to pay it off over 5 years. And when we were able to pull his credit, and that's a typical, paying a car loan over 5 years is a very typical time frame. But when his credit was pulled, it was a 620. And so that means his interest rate is going to be 19.25%, which is pretty high. And then his payment's going to be $652.09. Okay, and then we have another member that's come in, Spider-Man, and he has decided to take his friendly neighborhood watch guard to the water, and he also wants a boat, same boat as SpongeBob, okay? And so he wants a loan for the same thing, $25,000 for 5 years. But when they pulled his credit report, he was a 720, which means he qualifies for an interest rate of 2.99. Which means that SpongeBob is paying $652.09 for the same boat that Spider-Man is paying $449.11. So what's the difference? Why would SpongeBob have a lower credit score?
His credit doesn't show he's as responsible as
Okay.
Spider-Man.
Okay, why would SpongeBob not be responsible? Who does he work for?
Curse Crab.
Yes. Does
That's
he
my-
like
my
to let
water
go of
receipt.
his money? Does he pay SpongeBob on time?
He never pays SpongeBob.
SpongeBob gets
Or-
behind. You know, he's just doing what he has to do, and he's easily distracted by jellyfish.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and to contrast that, you know, Spider-Man, who does he work for?
J. Jonah James.
Oh,
Or wait, no.
He works at the Daily Bugle.
Yes, so he gets royalties for some of those pictures. He also had an internship with Stark.
Industries.
That's right. You think
Oh, yeah.
Tony Stark paid him well?
No.
Of course
Yeah.
Tony
No,
paid him
because
well.
internships are free.
Not all
Not all of
internships
them.
are free. He was paid.
There's
He
paid
was paid.
internships.
He
I
would pay
mean,
the
it's
mom.
Tony Stark.
How was that a bit?
So, Spider-Man had a better availability to make his payments on time, and his credit score reflected that. So that means that Spider-Man is saving $12,000 in
Wow.
interest over the life of the loan, which is $2,435.76 per year. And I feel like that's pretty substantial. If
Yeah.
somebody would have explained that to me when I was your age, I would have made some different decisions. Like, what can you imagine doing with $12,000?
A lot.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a lot. It's pretty substantial. So, where you are, like, how do you obtain a credit score? Okay, you might not have a credit score at all. So, how do you obtain a credit score? Well, in order for your credit score to be calculated, you have to at least have a loan or credit relationship, which is like a credit card, okay? That's been reporting to any credit reporting agency within the last 6 months. So if you have these, and caveat, you're making your payments on time, you can start out in the world with this over 700 credit score.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. You can have a vehicle loan, but it's hard to get a vehicle loan without any credit at all. You know, if you pulled someone's credit for that rental and they have a 0, they have no credit score, you're going to rent to them? No. You want to see some kind of history. So being responsible with a credit card, and coincidentally, MPDCU has credit cards that if you are interested in, we can help you out with. But when you get it, are you going to max it out and forget to pay it like SpongeBob? No. What are you going to do?
I'm gonna make sure. I have, like,
Pay things that you know you can like pay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Only use it for things that you already have the money for, so when the bill comes, you're paying it off every month. Okay? You are making lower payments on your house and your car, and even different credit cards that you're able to apply for. But that helps you, like, when you're thinking about giving back to God, right? If you're not having to work as hard and work as many hours, you're able to give that time to God instead of just trying to make your payments. And even it helps you when you're giving financially to God. Because
About
you have
10%.
more, right? You have more money that you're able to give back to God, which is a good thing, okay? And look, I even have rental property up here.
I don't know if this is a good idea, but like, plan to get a like credit card around like when I get my car, and like, I think I only want to spend it on gas. Like, I don't know if that would be a good idea or.
I would get your credit card a good 6 months before you get a car loan.
Okay.
And then you won't be spending it on gas unless you're paying for your parents' gas or whoever you're driving with. But you can spend it on, like, if you go to Kroger and you're picking up a couple of things. And what do we do with our credit cards? We
make sure we can pay
pay
that.
them
Yeah.
off every month, okay? And then that will help build your credit score before you get that car loan.
So if I have like cash on me and my credit card,
Mm-hmm.
like I have enough with cash, should it be smarter to just use the credit card to make sure I can pay it off to build up that credit?
It can, but remember one part of your credit score is like the capacity that you have in your different accounts. So let's just say that you have a credit card and your limit is $10,000, which is possible. Once you start building credit, they're going to give you higher limits on your credit cards. So you're not going to want to reach that $10,000, even if you have cash in hand, which is very hard to do.
I'm thinking for like gas station purchases or like groceries and stuff.
Yeah.
Easy stuff.
You just have to learn how to play the game that best suits you. So are you going to keep that cash aside and not spend it on something else when your bill comes? You know, just playing the game smart.
Takes 30 days for that bill to come a lot of times.
Yes.
And a lot can happen with
So
your
don't
money in
forget
30
about
days.
But like the good thing nowadays, like most places have apps. So if you have like a credit card with us or with someone else, you would be able to get on your app and see all your purchases.
Okay.
Yeah.
And pay it right then online.
Oh,
You could pay it early if you wanted to.
You can always pay early.
Because there's no interest if you pay it within the 30 days.
Actually, there's no, if you pay your credit card off every month, you won't be paying any credit card interest at all. It's
high.
just if you only make the minimum payment, which is still better than not paying at all to make that. All right, let's build a scenario here. So you have a credit card that you're wanting to build credit for, and you don't have your vehicle loaned yet. So you are going to Kroger one day and you spend $20 on Tostino's pizza. I don't know, it just stopped.
Oh,
But yeah, okay, or maybe some Bugle snacks, you know, because you like to eat them, like put them on your fingers and eat them because it makes you feel fine, right? So, and a Coke. So $20, and that's probably over $20, everything I just said nowadays, but even so. And then tomorrow you wanted to go to Chick-fil-A for lunch. And so Chick-fil-A is probably going to run you $12.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So I would strongly suggest making good decisions with one card and keeping it for as long as possible. But back to the question about the debit card. So your debit card is linked directly to your checking account. So and we have a debit card because it's easy. People used to write checks. Remember that? Does anybody write checks anymore?
I mean, actually, a lot.
For church is the only place I write it.
Sometimes.
Yeah. And now we've kind of moved to using that debit card because it's just going into your checking account. Now, if you don't have the money in your checking account, your debit card will not work.
Oh, so it's not like you gotta pay interest and stuff. It's just what money
Oh, it's
you
just-
have and you can pay for it.
And you'll get an overdraft if you use it and there's no money in there.
What's the
Yes.
overdraft?
So every time, depending on the financial institution that you use, anytime you dip below 0 and you go into the negatives, you'll get a fee.
Oh, okay.
So our fee is $25. So if you're spending, you're like, I really want a McDonald's breakfast, which is pretty cheap, but you're right at that.
Damn it.
Yeah, like you have $2 left in your checking account and you spend $5 and now you're negative $3.
You gotta pay 25.
Now you have to pay 25 on top of that. So now
at
you're
3 in.
Mm-hmm.
negative $28. Yeah, you gotta make that right. And like when your checking account goes negative for so many days, that reports in your credit report too.
Mm.
There's a lot of different factors to that. One is some bank accounts will let you have overdraft protection. So we will let you go negative to $400. And then after that, your debit card won't work. Sometimes, it depends on your history, we won't let you go negative at all. So if you go negative for that McDonald's purchase, it will not work.
Okay.
Because you're going negative when that hits, And so people will call, why is my debit card not working? Well, then you have to take a deep breath.
It's embarrassing.
Count us at $3 and you're trying to make a purchase of $5 and so your debit card won't work and you don't have an overdraft protection.